Good afternoon, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to your courthouse and to the County Commissioners meeting. To start off, we will do the, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to have a public meeting concerning the Community Development Block Grant request for proposal for fiscal year 2024. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Flasher. This year we received an allocation for CDBG funds in the amount of $237,278. The purpose of this hearing is to solicit project ideas from the community. If there's anything that in your area you can think of that we could use for CDBG applications, I'd love to hear them. If anybody has any questions for me, I'm prepared to answer. This hearing is just to solicit ideas, and that's all the comments that I have.
Has anybody actually reached out to you yet associated with some projects that they have available?
Yes, I've been in contact with both Clarendon and Tidiute boroughs. They've reached out asking for eligible projects, certain ideas, what they could or could not submit. I've encouraged anyone who's reached out to submit whatever they have, and we'll take a deeper look at it. It's important that we take stronger looks at them, because if CDBG can't help, that doesn't mean there isn't something else out there that could. So we have been in talks, and I look forward to working with them.
Thank you very much.
What kind of projects does CDBG cover?
Typically infrastructure projects. It's intended to benefit low to moderate income residential neighborhoods. So that would be street reconstruction, stormwater implementations, water line or sewer line replacements. We also can do slum and blight. Again, it's infrastructure based, and so those larger street projects are where we gear our funding towards typically.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's a program that we've had in place for several decades now.
Longer than I've been alive. Yes.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? This time we will close the hearing. I don't believe I need a motion. Close.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Moving on. Everybody will please stand for a pledge of allegiance and also remain standing. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Announcement that this meeting will be recorded. The list of executive sessions held since last meeting, we did have one to discuss litigation issues. Correspondence received, we have none. Public comment. Anyone have any public comment?
Yes, I do. Karen Harvey, 53 Grant Street, Tidiute. And I bring to you today a document, information for your benefit to use in a video form. We are retired journalists from newspaper and television, and we have been documenting for several years what you are now considering, which is industrial wind proposals in our region. We have been documenting through seeing the video that we are presenting to you, and I will give this to the clerk, and she can distribute my remarks and the videos. Please, thank you so much, Pamela. What we've documented is what the impact is on your environment, what happened to the hills and the countryside of southwestern New York. And I would like to read for you what our senator, our state senator, said about the impact of wind factories on our community. Senator George Borrello, I'm quoting, he's the 56th District, Southwestern New York, and he says, quote, "Wind and solar affects everyone and puts the quality of life in our region at risk. We will become an industrial wasteland, not just because of wind and solar, but because of what will occur afterward. When the Wall Street speculators and the foreign entities make all their money, they are going to sell these contracts, and we will be inundated with anything else that can be harvested from our land as a result of the mineral rights being given away. Wind and solar are not built without perpetual government subsidies. They can't compete on the open market. The only people who benefit are Wall Street conglomerates that are created for the purpose, the sole purpose of profiting off the taxpayers. And then we have an expert that's been following the actual harm, physical harm to the people that live amongst them, Dr. Mark Twitchell, and I quote him, "The impact on the community goes beyond the noise and habitat destruction, the killing of bats and birds. It destroys the sense of community when one neighbor is causing a loss of the quality of life of another neighbor," unquote. And this film is called Green Madness, and I will give the link to Pamela via email so that you can see it online, but you can also play it if you would send that on down and each of you get a copy. I'd appreciate it. You know that each industrial wind turbine is made of 900 tons of steel, and that steel is made of iron and coal and alloys and mined using very large steel equipment at great expense. Mining equipment is also made of steel, iron, coal, and alloys. And in order to make these parts for these large wind projects, high temperatures must be realized using much fossil fuel. So it's a bit of a fraud to claim that these are green, that they have anything to do with not having an impact on the environment. There's also 2,500 tons of cement per turbine to hold it up. Cement is a tremendous impact on the environment. And 45 tons of plastic per turbine. And you'll see it all in the video. 10-year lifespan for these things, and they're falling apart up in western New York already, and they're replacing them and taking the pieces, and where do they put them? The forever waste is a real problem. I won't read the Wall Street Journal. There's a quote here from them that says, you know, the International Energy Agency has explained that it is very intensive on key minerals, lithium, graphite, copper, nickel, and rare earth metals, which don't exist. They aren't there, and when you start to extract them, you have a tremendous impact on the environment elsewhere. So it's a fraud to say that we don't have any impact on the world's environment. Renewables move toward a big footprint compared to the energy available from oil and gas. We know that from the benefits that have been drawn from all of Pennsylvania's history. And I will not, I know we have some wonderful awards to be heard here, but it is also a fact that water is very much a part of any of the extraction and manufacturing and production of any of the parts for these things. And 80% of that, those pieces come from places that have no water. So the impact on the water of the world is also immense. And finally, when it's manufactured, it's done in China. 80% of we will be at their mercy when we have to have all of our parts for wind and solar coming from China, which then they will have control of our energy. So I bring you this information. It's for you to have to see what the impact is and would be on the environment here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If we can have Warden Rusty Barr, Officer David Creek, Officer Zachary Nickard, Officer Andy O'Donnell, Officer Jeff Carlson, and Sergeant Mike Rogers. If you would all come forward, please.
Present to you the Citation of Excellence. Whereas on June 10th, the jail staff is completing their annual firearms training, and at approximately 9:20 a.m., an officer was completing his course of training And at this time, while holstering the firearm, which is standard practice, the firearm discharged and the officer was injured. We want to say that despite all of your calm demeanor, training in the medical field, confident engagement, and the ability to keep a distraught individual calm, demonstrating extreme confidence, and all of these traits that you have help save the life of a fellow officer at the time of need. And we, the county commissioners, on behalf of a grateful citizenry, wish to thank you all for your excellence and services to Warren County. Thank you very, very much for what you've done for us. And I appreciate all the work that you do as Warren County employees and corrections. Thank you so much.
Yep. If anybody wants to take photographs, please feel free.
Very much appreciated all your work and your efforts.
Get it, Randy?
Thanks, guys. Consent agenda. Minutes of the July 10th, 2024 meeting. Also, finance report.
Oh, yeah. I just want to say a quick few things.
Sure.
Thank you. We are midway through July. We have 46% of our year left. And budget-wise, I want to say kudos to our department heads and directors who have been keeping our expenses on target. Almost exactly 46% left. So I'm really happy to see that. And also my staff are diligently working to control our current costs and also looking at ways to save money for the county in the future as we begin to prepare for the 2025 budget preparations.
Proclamations.
We have no proclamations.
Unfinished business,
No.
labor, attorney.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Yes, you have a second.
Discussion.
None here?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unfinished business, labor attorney review.
I would just move that we table action on this for one more meeting.
Sounds good. I'll second that motion.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. New business, Act 13 request from North Warren Presbyterian Church.
You want me to take it, Ken?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is an application for Act 13 dollars that the county gets annually that's earmarked for outdoor recreation type activities. North Warren Presbyterian Church owns a playground just opposite the church on Church Street. It has been in disrepair for quite some time now. They are now working on a project to rehabilitate that playground. There's significant costs involved in that. Upwards to, let's see,
$80,000.
yeah, $80,000. And there's also an Eagle Scout project that's being incorporated into a piece of this as well. The church and the Scout have raised a significant amount of dollars to complete this project. The church is asking for a $10,000 contribution through the Act 13 dollars that the county has, which is just a small piece of the overall project. Everything else has been raised by the church or the Scout unit. Our review of the dollars available, we have significant amount of dollars available to channel into this project. So I would move that the commissioners approve this application for $10,000 of Act 13 open space funds for the North Warren Playground.
You made that motion, I will second that.
The motion, the second, discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Bridge fund request from Triumph Township.
Get one too. Okay, this one is also an Act 13 request, but it comes from a second fund, structurally deficient bridges, that the county gets annually through PennDOT. The request is for $45,000 of funding to be used for a project that is in excess of $450,000. The township is needing to replace structurally deficient Youngsville Road Bridge in Triumph Township. They are asking for the $45,000 and have raised either internally or through other grant programs the remainder of the dollars to replace that structure. We do have the dollars in that fund available. I would move that the county commissioners approve allocating $45,000 to the Triumph Township Youngsville Road Bridge project.
I'll second that motion. It looks like the municipal share is $91,000 and the total project cost is going to be up to $450,000.
Which can bring the balance through a grant program.
So they're getting a grant for the difference.
Right.
Very good.
Discussion. They've been dealing with this for quite
A
some
long
time.
time, yes, yes.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Approval of the needs-based budget narrative for children youth services.
That'd be me. It is budget time again for our agency. We publish a narrative before we then publish our requested amount. The narrative will be published on Friday. We're looking for approval for you guys to be able to read the narrative, vote, and then say yes that you'll sign after you've read the narrative. As a part of the narrative is also our Child Welfare Information Systems MOU, which is our data system from the state that sends us our reports. We have an MOU with the state that we can share our information from our data system to the state's data system. That is approved by you all as well every single year. So we're asking for approval for the narrative and for the Child Welfare Information System agreement. Typically we ask after, but unfortunately the next public meeting is not until the day before the budget piece is due. So that's why we're asking a little bit earlier than normal for approval.
So you're asking us to approve the needs-based budget and
Narrative and
for
the
children
child welfare,
and the child welfare memorandum of understanding.
Yes.
I will make that motion.
The motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
The motion and second, discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved children youth services provider, Molly Wagner.
Juvenile probation has been looking for other community services that offer sex offender counseling and assessments. Molly Wagner is a provider. We had not contracted with her for years and we didn't get her approved when we sent out for the early approval list. We are now in need of contracting with Molly for that service, so we're just asking for permission to be allowed to contract with Molly Wagner for her sexual offending assessment and treatment services.
Where is that located?
She's located out of Erie, but she comes here every Monday and
Okay.
she works with and has a contract with adult probation and I believe with the district attorney's office. So we're just asking to be able to add on to that.
I will make the motion to approve a new CRS provider, Molly Wagner. for juvenile probation program.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Human Services Plan.
Give me a little under the weather today. My name's Adam McNeil. I am the Human Services Administrator for Forest and Warren counties. I'm here today to invite public comment for programs that I oversee, which are intellectual disabilities, mental health, adult and children's, the single county authority drug and alcohol program, early intervention for infants and toddlers. So basically, we do a yearly plan as well, and we have goals that we try to meet, and we like to invite public comment on anything that maybe the community sees that we can improve on or we're doing well at.
Do you have anything published in the website or materials available for the public to see as far as services being provided?
All resources are available.
Not until after.
Yeah, it's really, what we're doing is contracting with, every service agency in the community, in pretty broad stroke in the region, really trying to make sure that we can, provide services to our individuals for any needs they might have. And we're typically in-house the case management piece, so we're trying to at all times identify needs and get people where they need to go, the services they need. It's really about keeping people out of jail, keeping people out of the hospital, keeping them in their homes, and it comes down to 100 different things. But if we can secure them in things like housing and stabilize an adult in their housing, their children don't get disrupted. Their children don't have trouble in school. We don't see their mental health decline. We don't see as high addiction rates and things like that. So it's really about the health of the community.
What are some of the trends that you're seeing year to year as far as it?
Well, that's why housing is easy one to bring up. I don't think that Warren County necessarily has a lot of problems with housing. I think that everywhere you go on a national standard, housing is a problem. Homelessness is a problem. A lot of the grants have been, years ago, really just kind of fell off the map for what you can even apply for homelessness and things like that. So I think one big trend is stabilizing families, and then also looking at the family as a unit and trying to treat the whole family for needs and not just one person that might be kind of showing that they're having problems, but treating the whole family.
Thanks.
Very good. So do we need a motion to approve the human services plan for a specific fiscal year, or?
I don't believe we do.
Okay, just an open comment period and allowing for anybody in the public to
For discussion.
participate.
Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner comments?
My door is always open.
I guess I could start. First of all, I want to thank you, Mrs. Harvey, for providing this information to us on wind. I know that the county has dealt with the solar farm initiative that's been ongoing. In order for us to prepare for it, the county did come up with some regulations through our subdivision and land development ordinance. The biggest concern was the decommissioning of those panels once they've outlived their useful lives. We've heard rumblings here or there about wind. I'm not sure we have the sustained wind in the county, but I'm hearing otherwise that things are changing. However, this is something that the county's planning commission, I'm sure, will be looking into where it goes from here. is yet to be seen as something that's just in the discussion stages at this point. But I thank you for providing the information
Can I
to
add
us.
one caveat, one little? In New York, they've discovered after 4 years now that they only get 10% of what the developer, the on-land turbines only produce 10% when they are operating, which is quite often not at all. So, you know, that NYSERDA, the New York system operator, New York NYSO, came up with that figure after 3 years of watching. So it's only at 10% of what the developer claims to be producing.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of research that has to go into this at this point, but thank you as we find this
Appreciate
helpful.
it. Thank you.
Nothing. I just want to commend the corrections staff for a job well done. And also remind everybody that our door is always open. If you're in the courthouse, you have a question, or just want to pop in and say hello, it is greatly appreciated. So a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion, second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you for your attendance and participation today.